that's like some of my favorite moments in parenting. Back in 2023, when my daughter was about 7 or 8 years old, she came with me to the laundromat one day in our very, very small town in Tennessee that we used to live in. So, for context, there's about 800 people that lived in the town. No stoplight, no grocery store, just a Dollar General on the way out of town. This was not one of those snazzy laundromats where there's like wash services and TVs and even music playing. We go into the laundromat and I'm putting the coins into the machines, and not even 3 minutes in, my daughter runs around the row of machines and her face is, she's terrified. She has tears coming in her eyes and she screams twice, "The world is ending? Why didn't you tell me the world was ending?" And I remember being like, first of all, I knew this was not a joke because she had full on fear on her face. But I'm also standing in a laundromat where I can see everything. So I knew that there wasn't any immediate danger. And the phrase she was using as well made no sense to me. And it was kind of like Doctor Strange, where you go through those 1,400 scenarios or 14,000 scenarios all at once. So I ask her what's going on. She walks me to the front where people leave magazines and different things for people to read, because again, there's no TVs, the signal is bad, so you can't necessarily get on your phone. So people read, and I'll put a picture up of the magazines that she saw that prompted this response. Okay. I was nervous I wasn't going to be able to find it because it's been years, but I did find it. This is the picture I took, and I had a sigh of relief because I realized, okay, there's no immediate danger. But it was so interesting because of her age, her generation, and her being homeschooled, I immediately realized that she thought these magazines were fact. Like, when you think about a kid who is like constantly around technology, things like magazines and newspapers, they're so ancient, they're so like old school that I could tell that a lot of kids would probably take something that's in a magazine or at something that's in the image that I took as fact. One, this whole situation is happening before I ever took my first parenting class, before I ever developed my post-religious parenting program and actually had systems in place and ways to manage and deal with these situations. So I am flying the plane completely blind right now. I sat her down and explained these magazines, these pamphlets, these are all opinions. These are notices and information that people of a certain group believe and want to share with others, but it is not fact. The world is not coming to an end. And then secondly, I let her know if it was, your dad and I would clearly explain, let you know what's going on, and you would be fully aware, right? It wouldn't be a surprise like that for you as we're walking in the laundromat. That's all she needed. She wiped her tears, she calmed down, and then she was jumping in the laundry basket, playing around like it's a race car. Okay, so, part of that is my daughter's personality. She's very like, oh, you explained it to me. Okay, move on, next thing. But even if it took her longer to calm down and to reason with her, that was fine with me. So now, 3 days later, I see on the news all of these massive protests of parents in front of schools and libraries talking about banning books. And this was my first encounter information that there were people who wanted to ban certain books from schools and libraries. And one woman's face is permanently embedded in my mind because I was so overwhelmed with how angry she was. I mean, I understood these people were protesting certain books. I didn't know what books they were, but regardless of what books they were, I felt like the amount of just visceral hate and anger of this woman's face was so wild to me. I'm thinking, okay, this is how angry she is getting over a book that her child might read. And then I thought about the situation I just had with my daughter. The fact that she had encountered actual, real emotional harm by books and pamphlets and information and magazines that other people put out. Normally, when I go to the laundromat, it would typically be in the wee hours of the morning. The owner of the laundromat, he would be there every single morning, bright and early, like 4 or 5 o'clock, along with his friends. So we would chat, we knew each other. And after seeing all of those protests, I thought, why did I not get upset? Why did I not immediately think that the owner of the laundromat should be told to, filter and navigate what is in his laundromat because there are kids, and I don't really feel like that's an appropriate topic for a child to be exposed to, obviously, because it terrified her. But then also, I didn't think anything of or negatively or anger towards the people who left the pamphlets. And I thought, why was that? Why did I actually experience what some of these parents were fearful of and yet still did not have the reaction that they did? I think about these things all the time. I love human, nature. And two main points stood out to me as to probably why I didn't react how the parents I was seeing in these protests were reacting. The first is I was one of the people that were leaving those types of magazines in public places. If I'm being honest, at my daughter's age, I knew what every beast of Daniel's prophecy looked like, as well as the beast listed in Revelation, and I wouldn't have even flinched at those magazines at my daughter's age. I understand that when we were doing that, even though those magazines were not the pamphlets that my church was leaving around, we had some very similar narratives and shocking cover pages. So it could have very well been something that I would have placed somewhere back in the day. Understanding that when I was doing those things, when I was sharing those pamphlets, I didn't have any ill will. That really allowed me in that situation to not even think about the people who left those pamphlets as my enemy or people that I should like go seek out and cuss out for making my daughter cry. 9 times out of 10, there's not really intentional, I want to make the children cry, I want to bring the children to my side, like this, boogeyman under the bed type of energy that a lot of people put on books that they disagree with. Now, the second thing is, in my opinion, that situation with my daughter is literally the whole point of parenthood, right? Kids are not capable of taking in all the information and all the life lessons at once needed to function in life. So we, the parents, guide them through situations as they arise in their life and say, hey, this happened. This is how you handle it. This is how you go about it. But if you're trying to sanitize the world to be a perfect replica of what you implement in your home, or try to literally remove entire groups of people from existence, you are robbing you and your kid the opportunity to grow. And frankly, the opportunity to make you proud. Because what makes us happier as parents than realizing our child was in a situation, a compromising situation or an issue where they were confronted with the entire opposite of the way they were raised, ideals, beliefs, and they stick to what you taught them, and they stick to what you have grown them or raised them to do. That makes us proud. You're going to remove every opportunity for them to face challenges. You're never going to, one, truly know where your child is in terms of your rules and your boundaries and your structure. And then two, you're not able to really be proud of them for executing, standing on business whenever they're in a situation away from you. So why is it that as parents, sometimes we irrationally want the world to match the bubble that we've raised our child in? My opinion is it's a lot of fear. It's a lot of fear. It's a lot of discomfort. For a lot of people, it is actually easier to plan, travel to, and participate in a protest or a ban of a certain book or thing than it is to sit with their child or teenager and have a conversation about trans people, war, different cultures, poverty. It's hard. Rather than leaning and embracing that easier route of you all be what I want you to be around my kid, raise your kid to know how to function in the world that they share with others. Let little Timmy have a conversation with a kid that is from a completely different background than them, because then little Timmy will grow up to be an adult that can emotionally regulate at work when he is consistently surrounded by people who have a different lifestyle or belief system than he does, rather than reacting in anger and frustration or immaturely because they can't handle the fact that someone has a different lifestyle.